Guys, do you have any questions regarding last session? So it was long back I took it, so week back. So do you have any questions? So we'll discuss. Tulasi, do you have any questions? Both of you. Okay, fine. We'll go ahead. Actually, last session, we discussed about Anypoint Studio also. So uh, Anypoint Studio and so overall web services. So what was the before web services? What was the drawback after web services? What was the advantages compared to existing? So how many types of web services? So then nowadays, how people are using web services? Which web services are they're preferring? Because we have two types of web service, SOAP and REST. So what was the drawback in SOAP and what was the advantages of REST? Why people preferred REST services only? So apart from SOAP web services, so we discussed these things and we discussed about Anypoint Studio also. So what are the parts in Anypoint Studio? What was the exactly Anypoint Studio? It is like a Eclipse. So on top of the Eclipse, these millions of people will build on that. So we'll build one layer on top of that. So it's whatever the shortcuts we are using in the Eclipse, same shortcuts will you can use here also. Will it work? Then extra some of the things they added for Anypoint Studio. So this graphical view and all. So that is about that. So in this Anypoint Studio, we discussed what are the parts in this. So this is the palette. In the palette, we have so many connectors are there. So different types of connectors and filters and routers and the scopes. We have different types of categories are there. So these are all built in message process, we can say. So here, according to Mill terminology, so each and every component, each and every connector, so we can call it as a message processor because these are, it is one of the ESB, right? Enterprise Service Bus. So according to ESB's terminology, it will take the payload, it will hold the payload. So it will filter, it will route it, it will append it, like that whatever the operation. So frequently doing operations like filtering. So like for example, so I want to hit some 1000 records to database, so I'm executing one batch job, right? So in the batch job I want to filter it. I don't want to hit from starting with some particular character. So I don't want to hit that particular records to database. So for that we need to filter it, right? So the type of frequently doing operations in development where day to day we are doing so many same requirements, same type of filtering, same type of appending things, right? So the type of donkey kind of work we can say. So that type of donkey kind of work we can do into the middleware, right? So that's why these middlewares are coming to the picture. So one of the middleware is one of the ESB is MailSoft. So you know why this is more popular than other ESBs. So these parts are already we discussed. So then this is a we can say it's a palette. So in the mail terminology, you can say it's a palette. So next one is this is a canvas. So in the canvas, so we can drag and drop that these all the message process. We can call it as a message process. You can drag and drop the message process into the canvas. In the canvas we have a two parts. So one is inbound, another one is outbound. Okay, so in the inbound, so whatever you are drag and drop, so in the message process in the palette we have a so many components. It's nothing but a message process. So we have a two types of message process, basically high level. That is nothing but inbound connect in the connectors. In the connectors, we have a two types. So one is input inbound connectors, another one is outbound connector. Some of the connectors so acts as a both actually inbound as well as outbound. Okay, so connectors means exactly if you suppose for example if you take a HTTP connector, so it will act as a both actually inbound connector and outbound connector. So what is the difference between inbound connector and outbound connector? So inbound connector, it will receive the request actually. So what we are doing here, we are creating a services, REST services, or else SOAP services, whatever it is. Based on the client requirement, we can build a REST or SOAP services. We can publish it actually. So once you publish it, right? So somebody will hit the request, right? Somebody will consume our services. So whoever trying to consume it, the first request will come to the inbound, whatever you kept that inbound. So either it's a HTTP or either it's a some FTP, whatever it is. So it will come the request first, the first inbound connector actually. So we'll mention some configuration in the inbound connector. So based on that configuration, based on the host address and the port number and then base path. So based on this, so people are who are consuming our services. So they are trying to hit the request. So that request will come to the HTTP connector. So in our case, like that, whatever the inbound connector you are using, so that request so will receive that inbound connector. Next one is outbound connector. So hope you are clear what is meant by inbound connector. Inbound connector, it will receive the request from the consumers or else from the clients. So next one is outbound connector. So whatever this dotted line, so this canvas will split into two parts. One is left side, another one is right side, separating with a dotted line. If you drag and drop, so one particular connector, so in the left side, so that is nothing but an inbound connector. So we have some of the inbound connectors. So some of them are both same connector. It will act as a both inbound as well as outbound. So if you drag same connector in the right side of this dotted line, it will act as an outbound connector actually. So you are clear what is meant by inbound connector, what was the functionality of inbound connector. Similarly, we have an outbound connector. So coming to outbound connector, what was the functionality of the outbound connector? Outbound connector is, so previously somebody will trying to consume our services using that inbound connector. So but here using outbound connector in the flow, so we are trying to consume other services. Suppose somebody will expose that service, either it's a REST or POST, right? So we are trying to consume their services using that outbound connector. Suppose Salesforce guy was exposing one REST services, REST service, right? Suppose opportunity information he exposed, he published it somewhere else. I want to consume that opportunity service, right? So what we need to do, so we have to drag and drop this type of HTTP connector. So we can search here. So here when you search in the palette, so it will give all elements and then suggestions. Either you can use it actually, so either you can same component only you can drag this, or else you can use this element actually. Okay, so this is the outbound connector here. Using this outbound connector, so we can connect to the we can consume to the other services. Okay, so in this same again here, if you see here, same configuration here. So if we click the plus here, this is a HTTP configuration. So here if you click the plus symbol, it will pop up one new dialog. In the dialog we have to fill it actually. So what we need to fill it, so first one is, so here our requirement is what, so we are trying to consume other services. So how they exposed, either they exposed, either they publish, either it's a HTTP or HTTPS. Either HTTP, there is no secure actually. So either if it is a HTTPS, so that have some authentication actually. So that information also they should provide, whoever exposing that service. So they should also provide that information. If it is a HTTP, simple actually, here is the remote address. So whatever they address, so they expose, they publish it some service, right? So they publish it based on some URL, right? So that URL have different types of parts like the host, port, base path. So all information you can get from them. Host we have to keep it, that is a remote host. So next one is a port number. So which port they are using and they are trying to expose it. That port number they have to share. Next one is base path. So in the URL some base path is there. So it's like a context path. So HTTP localhost, something like that. We have to keep it right, slash something. That is nothing but a base path, so we have to keep it the base path here. So next one is, if it is a HTTP, then we can keep it as a authentication. So something like basic authentication you can use, either it's a HTTP or HTTPS. So in case of HTTPS, we can fill it all these details also actually. So something like SSL configuration. So this is provided from them actually, by them. These are the information key store information, path information, all the information they will provide us. So that information we have to fill it. So if it is a HTTPS authentication, like that here we have so many types of authentication in the drop down, like the basic authentication, and then OAuth to client credentials, OAuth authorization code. So like that we have different types of authentication. So generally people will use basic authentication and OAuth through authentication. So it's a requirement based on the client requirement. Just configuration will change. Whatever the configuration information required, so that is sharing by them. They will share us actually. So now we can take the information because we are trying to consume them, right? So they exposed their service, so we are trying to consume them, so they have to support, sorry, they have to give all the information. So generally here, so people will face this sometimes while connected to the HTTP, there's REST calls actually. How they will share generally, whenever they will give the URL and information, first we need to check the Postman client actually. In the Postman client, it was working or not, we have to check it actually. So in the Postman, if it is work, it should work in the MuleSoft also. Okay, so why I'm saying, so generally integration always bit painful. So whenever they will share us, so that URL and all, first it will working or not, we have to check it. So further there are different ways. So one of the ways, so using this is a plugin for Chrome. If you add a plugin for Chrome, so that is a Postman client, it will come like this. If you click this, it will open like this. Okay, here we have to choose either it's a post or get, or what type of request it is, request method it is. If it is a get, we are just getting the information from the server. If it is a post, we are trying to push the information to the server. We are hitting to the server, we are giving some body to the server, some information to the server. So that is a post. Like put is for updating some information. Already opportunity is there, I want to update my opportunity with some other extra requirement. So some that time we have to use a put. So on top of that we can edit it. So using the put operation, like the delete. So these are the frequently used operations, either get, post, put and delete. So if you don't want that particular opportunity in the Salesforce, I want to delete it, then you will go for delete operation. So according to their requirement, how they exposed it, right? They are expecting some information from us, or else simply they are exposed whenever we'll request it with some query parameters. So they will send the information. That time you will go for method as a get. So we need to take the decision which type of method we have to use. So generally people will prefer post only. So because there are some advantages in the post compared to the get. So if we are exposing uh, as a get URL as a get method, so that query parameters, whatever you are passing query parameters, that will visible in the middle of that actually. So that is one drawback. Another one is there is a restriction in the get URL. So when you go for get method, there is a restriction in that is length, the whole length of that URL is, it should be 256 characters. So we are not sure actually. So in future might be it will change, right? So that's why people always prefer post method. So either you can hit the information or not. So just we'll go for post with empty body also, right? So this is the Postman client. Whenever they will share that URL, we have to just check it actually. Generally, while starting a sprint actually everybody follows agile methodologies, right? So be a business analyst or else some architect will explain the functionality, will explain the user stories, right? So while explain the user stories, so once you go through that user stories, we have to check first basic questions actually. So what is the input of that your middleware? What is the output of your middleware? So that is the main thing, because while starting the application without these things, we'll stuck in the middle. So we have keep on asking, then we are running out of time. These type of issues will face in the while doing middleware actually, because always some dependency there to other team members. So that's why starting itself only we have to take the URL, we have to test it in the Postman client. Everything is working in the Postman client, so that should be work in the in our MuleSoft also, right? Whatever you are passing headers and all, they will tell us. So accordingly we have to keep it. Content type and accept, then authorization. So we have to keep it here. First we have to test the Postman client. So that is an advantage of the middleware actually. So generally how it will happen here in real time, we are not using this middleware, right? Sorry, using this Postman client. So generally how it will happen, so request is coming from GUI. From the GUI it will hit to the middleware. From the middleware it will hit to the target system. So that is the end of the day end-to-end integration. But so we need to test only our integrate our mule flow. So that time we have to use this Postman client or else a REST client. Some of the third parties are there using this. This is for REST actually. This is a REST client, or this is a Postman client is for only for REST. If you want to test post, so there is another tool called SOAP UI. So if you want to test SOAP related web services, right? Like they'll expose a digital file, we need to consume it, or else we are planning to expose, we are planning to publish some SOAP services. So these are working or not, we have to test using SOAP UI, right? Guys, do you have any questions until now?
Just think that. So only we can put only the rest only, I mean in the Postman.
Yes, because that is
So what about
exclusively for, yeah. Yeah, tell me.
yes? So what about so when we get the flat files or XML, how to check it, how to process it, and how to validate that file?
Yeah, actually, you are talking about input, right? If you get a input as a flag file, or else if you get a input
Yes,
as a some
yes,
CSV and all. So actually, that is based on the type of service you are implementing. If it is a REST, think like this: you are implementing a REST. So that RAML will come into the picture actually while implementing that REST services. In the YAML, we can write the schemas for validating purpose. Suppose you are sending some CSV as input. First of all, that is really it's a CSV format, or else it's any damaged one, right? Might be it's happened, right? You are sending a CSV, but it's not in the form of CSV, right? It's look like a CSV, but might be inside content some damaging happened, right? So first we need to check it either it is a CSV, original CSV or not, right? So that we can check it. Next one is coming to the inside CSV. So suppose in CSV you are sending some 100 fields. In the 100 fields, some of them are mandatory, some of them are optional, right? Suppose 10 fields are mandatory, remaining 90 fields are optional. So sometimes user not sending that 90 fields, then we have to accept, right? So that type of validation we can do in the RAML itself, RAML RAML, for exclusively for this REST services. In the RAML we can do it actually. In the RAML we have a schema options, right? In the schema we can write all these validations. So that is one type, mandatory field and the optional fields. Suppose he is sending a mandatory field but he is not sending any value, right? So that time also we have a minimum value, maximum value kind of operation is there, that is validation is there, that we can keep it actually. So that whole thing we can do into the schema, whatever. Suppose in the CSV, so we are expecting some particular field as a string, but he is sending as an integer. So that type of return type, that type of data type also we can validate it. Sometimes we are expecting array, but user is sending normal something like a string. That time we can reject it. Boss, we are expecting only this particular field as an array, but you are sending this type, and we can revert it back it actually. So where the travel itself, your API kit will itself, it will give the proper error message also. Whatever you mentioned, based on the schema, it will give the error. That is the advantage of the Traman. So am I answering your question? So that is the thing. So in our session we'll discuss RAML. So more than 2 days. So that is because it's a more useful. First, if you want to start a particular service, so first we have to implement the RAML part actually. In the RAML part, so the endpoint URL we have to decide. Then all the mandatory, optional, all the conditions, whatever the conditions we want to implement, right? Input validations, we can do it to the RAML itself. Whatever the format it is, and there is a flat file, and there is a JSON file, and there is a CSV file. We have options in MuleSoft. We can restrict it. We call in the before the service only, before coming to the service only. These all validations will check it. If validations are good, then we can allow it to the inside.
Got it.
Okay.
Yes, I got you, Venkat.
Okay. Good. So, any other questions? Apart from that also, so you can write request schemas. Yeah. Request schemas means it's a schema only. In the RAML will mention schemas, examples and all will mention actually. Example means, so we can give the documentation to the consumer actually. So see, generally if you people are aware with WSDL in the SOAP, if you share the WSDL, client will get to know. So what was the operation you are exposed, right? What was the operation you publish in the operation? What you are expecting? What parameters we are expecting? Everything he got to know based on the WSDL, right? You are getting my point. So similarly, in the rest also, if you implement this RAML thing, RAML itself, it will give the proper documentation actually. So how you are expecting, how you are as a publisher, how you are expecting the parameters and all, that URL, endpoint URL, how it is look like. So everything it will give by RAML action. So it will give the clear documentation also. Okay. So in the RAML we mentioned that schemas and all. So that is the part. So similarly, we have other options also for validating.
Yes,
Yeah, tell me.
Venkat, give an example actually, so we can understand easily. So when we go into the ML, we can let you know actually, so that
Yeah,
we can
yeah,
understand easily.
yeah, yeah, sure. Actually, while implementing the RAML, I will take some scenarios actually. So I will take the scenarios, will implement the endpoint URL, right? In the endpoint URL, I will take that some payload. In the payload, will restrict some input fields. Then we'll work accordingly. So while hitting the request from the consumer, whatever that field missing or else something like return type change. So automatically our API kit, one of the API kit is there in the Mule. That API kit will take care, so that will hit back to the error message, proper error message also. So here you people are aware of enum also, right? Enum keyboard. So enum keyword means combination of like weekdays, like years, like that combination of enum keywords. You people are
So we
aware.
don't have any idea.
Enum.
I don't have any idea, you know.
Yeah, enum means what exactly? Suppose you are sending a opportunity name, think like that. In the payload, you are sending a opportunity name. So I will fix it actually. These are the opportunity names. Suppose five values, I will fix it actually. Opportunity name one, name two, name three, name four, name five. I will fix it actually. Suppose user is sending opportunity six, he is sending, but we fix the values up to 5, 1 to 5 we fix it, but he is sending sixth value. So that we have to mention, that 5 values we have to mention in the enum. So that will automatically restrict it, bounds within the bound, you can say it's a bound. So within the bound only you have to send it. If out of value, out of 1 to 5, it will give error. We'll fix the values, something like drop down we'll get it. In the drop down only that values only you have to send it. Suppose in the GUI we are choosing some drop down, right? Like they kept like a male, female, some third gender, right? So we can't send other value in that, right? It's a fixed value, either it's a male or female or third gender. We can't, there is no other option to choose other one, right? Like that here also we fix the values for that particular field. So while getting the information from the user, so within the bound only you have to get the value. If it is out of bound, your API kit automatically it will respond, it will give proper error message actually. Also it's out of bound, it's there is no value in the enum, it will clearly what was the value also it will clearly mention us. So that type of validations also we can do in the RAML. Okay, so let's go for a simple example. So we can start the practicing also. We'll see the basic flow. So first, you know how to create the project, right? In the MuleSoft. So this is the Anypoint Studio. Okay. So just click on the file. So then choose new option. Then click on the Mule project. Okay. So in the Mule project, so by default, if you are using a latest Anypoint Studio download, then automatically that server is available. So mine is 6.2.1, that is the latest version, right? 2 also there, I guess. So if you are download latest version, so this server, so automatically that server is available. This Mule Server 3.8.3 Enterprise Edition. Actually, mine is it's a Office mission, so we are using Enterprise Edition. So it's based on your requirement. So if your client prefers Enterprise Edition, because you will get some permission actually, some authorization, then you can use it Enterprise Edition. Because some of the connectors we need to buy it. So in the Enterprise Edition, if it is a client edition, see community edition, so no need to buy it actually. Whatever the components are there, we can happily use it. But in Enterprise Edition, there is some restriction, is that only limited connectors are available. So some of the connectors we have to buy it. So either server you can use it based on the still some 3.6, 3.7 also active. If you don't want to work on 3.8, so just downgrade it, we can change it. How to add that? Go to the help, install new softwares. Okay, it's like Eclipse also, same option only. Click on the help, click on the help. So here I'm trying to add a new plugin, right? So install new softwares, then search here. So here search bar will come all available sites. Here just type for servers. So it will show you what are the servers are available. Either it's a community edition or else enterprise edition. All the list of servers will appear here. Okay, see here what are the servers, community run types, see this, and these are the servers here. So CE means community edition, next one is enterprise runtime means enterprise edition, right thing. So here so many servers are there, so based on your requirement we just select it, we can install it actually. 3.8.2 also there, you can just select it, we can click next. So we need to restart it. Once this plugin added successfully, it will ask the restart, so then we have to restart it. We should restart it, so then that will come to here automatically after installation is done, so that whatever you server you choose in the install new software, so that will come here. So while creating the project, so we have to choose the server, either whatever the server here. Multiple servers also we can keep it here. So either 3.8.3, 3 point, like that we have to keep it here. We choose particular one. So by default first one is selected. So if you want to select other one, then click on that other one. So it will automatically so the server will see if you want to deploy one application, we should need some server, right? So that API manager server. So that server is nothing but here whatever you added, so that will come into the picture actually that time while running that application. So it should be mandatory. So then click next, then project will be created. So this is the way to create the project. Okay. So coming to here,
One question.
yeah, tell me.
As you said in earlier class, by default, Jetty server is there, na? By default.
Yeah, Jetty server is there.
So how can we see that actually? So where the server is, by default it will be having. See that server actually.
Jetty server by default will come to with AnyPoint Studio itself it will come. But here this is generally in real time how it will happen. You have to deploy into either MMC or AnyPoint Manager, right?
Okay.
In our AnyPoint Studio, that Jetty Manager will come into the picture, so it will deploy automatically in this Jetty server. But end of the day, we have to deploy in the either MMC Wheel Management Console, or else AnyPoint Manager, or else Cloud Hub, right? Either in the three environments we have to deploy it somewhere else, right? So if you want to deploy that, your application choose that particular server actually.
Okay.
Is it clear?
Yes, I guess.
In your local, it will work, but in environment, it won't work.
Okay.
Okay. So coming to this, so you want me drag and drop and show the feature, like you are okay with this? Can I explain like this, or else you want me to drag and drop again? See, just search for that particular component, whatever the component. First of all, this which component you have to select, that is based on the requirement actually. So here I choose so many components, but how I can decide which component I have to use in the palette? So that is my based on the requirement actually. Before starting the flow, before working the flow, we have to clear on the requirement. What is exactly the requirement? So once you clear the requirement, so we can automatically get to know some components. This is a component for the particular purpose. We got to know that information. So here my requirement is I want to get some parameter from the URL itself, from the query parameter, from the user, right? So after that, I want to add some string to the query parameter. I want to display total information. You are getting. So my scenario is I want to get some query parameter from the user. Okay. So I take that query parameter. I want to append some more extra string to the query parameter. I want to display it. You are getting that? So that is my requirement. So in this case, why I'm stressing and explaining this? So one of the previous session, somebody asked actually, so what components we have to use, how we'll get to know? So that type of questions I got it actually. That's why I was pressing here and I'm saying same words again and again. So here, based on first you understood the requirement clarity. Anywhere else same actually, not only MuleSoft, whatever the technology it is. So first you have to analyze the requirement. Once you analyze clearly the requirement, so in your mind, end to end, we should think it actually. So, I mean, we should not start. So first I got to know only 10% of the thing, then I have to start, then remaining automatically you get to know. We don't think like that actually. First, once you think about that requirement, we should know end to end actually in your mind. So that time only you have to start the requirement. Why I'm saying here, if you know 10% of the requirement, if you start it, if you go for after 10%, if you go there, we are not sure actually whatever you are thinking, whatever you are keeping the 10% of core, is it suitable for remaining thing or not. So that's why when you start a requirement, I mean, you are already professionals, you are working on that, I guess you know all these things. Why I'm saying here again, here front to back kind of thing it will come. So that's why, so while taking the requirement, while explaining the BA, so that functionality will explain. Based on the functionality, we'll decide it actually. What are the components we are going to use, right? So we have to decide that time itself while starting before time only. We have to thinking these are the components will fit it, right? So that way we have to think it. So here we are trying to expose the service to the consumers. That's why here I'm using a HTTP connector. Think like this. Here some manual interaction is there. So I don't want to manual interaction. Automatically your service will trigger, right? So that time we have other components. We have to think that way. So there is a manual interaction. Manual interaction means consumer will hit our service, right? So that time you have to use HTTP. Suppose think like this, there is no manual interaction, everything is automation. So right, every 5 minutes our service will trigger. So that time there is other components called poll. So in the poll we have to, there is a poll is there, we have to use that poll. In the poll we have to keep some component like suppose I have to use some FTP or else file component, whatever it is, FTP file. So we have to drag and drop into the poll component. So what poll will do, so it's nothing but a timer, right? We can set the frequency. So every frequency, it's 1,000, it's nothing but a millisecond. Every 1,000 millisecond, your flow will react. Your flow will trigger automatically. There is no manual interaction here. So like that, we have to take the decision which component we have to use. Like that, I want to hit the database, right? I want to hit the database. So I want to hit parallel hitting. So I want to hit some multiple tables simultaneously, right? There is a table 1, table 2, table 3. I want to hit simultaneously 3 tables. Generally how it will happen, first you hit the first table, we'll get some information. Then I will hit the second table based on the first table information. Then we'll hit that second table. Like that it will happen sequentially. But client don't want to hit sequential operation. You want to hit parallel. So that time we'll have some other component like scatter gather kind of thing. Using scatter gather, so we can hit parallel you can hit it actually. So like that we will take a decision which component you have to use in the first time itself. While taking the requirement itself, we have to analyze it, we have to take the decision which components we are going to use. Suppose whatever the client suggests, client was saying some fully customization, but that particular component is not supporting in the MuleSoft. That time what we'll need to do, so what we need to do, so there is some other transformers, whatever the language will, you know that particular language we have some transformers. Suppose I am familiar with Java, so then we have a transformers, we have a Java transformer, so then you have to use Java transformer. So that customization we can write in the Java code. Suppose we are familiar with some other JavaScript, right? So that JavaScript, the JavaScript also there. So you are familiar with Python script, so the Python script also there. So it's nothing but language independent actually. Whatever the language will know the developer, that particular component will use and will implement it. So you guys clear, right? So this decision of these components, which components will use it, so that is based on fully based on the requirement clarification. So based on that requirement only we'll take that which component we are going to use it. Okay. So here is the HTTP component. So in the HTTP component, so we discussed already this configuration. If you click the plus, we'll get some window, right? So once you already added the configuration, I want to edit the configuration. So just click the right side button. There is a edit, it's there. Click the edit. It will open the dialog again. If you want to change any filled information, already filled information, you can change here. So first one is local host name, next one is port number. So if you want to change it, you can change it. Okay, so that is a basic information I added. This is the path. What was the context path in the URL? So that path we have to mention into the HTTP connectors. So this is a configuration. Once you added this configuration, automatically it will come into the with the name connector configuration. You can see backside also there is a different views are there. One is this a design view, right? We can go back and check it. So how it will generate. So if you see here, so see this HTTP listener it was generating. So with what it is flow check. So that is what flow check is nothing but it's a path. That path is generated. So next one, all the components, whatever you are just drag and drop, right? Automatically it will come here. So it will display here. So next one is set payload. So you people are clear, right? What was the use of that HTTP connector? This connector, both way you can use it, either inbound connector as well as outbound connector. If the connector placed in the right side of this dotted line, it will access the outbound connector. So and then if it is placed on the left side of this dotted line in the canvas, so it will access the inbound connector. It will take the request. And that too, if you see this symbol on top of that inbound connector, it's a request reply kind of thing actually. It will take the request. It will responsible for the giving the response also, right? So it's a two-way direction. It will take the request. It will give the response. When you drag and drop, it will come like this, two-way direction. It will take the request. It will give the reply. Okay. So next one is set payload. So when you will go for set payload actually. So payload means what is the meaning of payload? It's nothing but a data, right? So it's nothing but a data. I want to hold some data. I want to hold some data. So that time we'll go for set payload. So if you type here set payload, automatically appear here. So you can see here actually it's nothing but a tooltip. It will appear when you place that mouse on that particular component, it will appear a transformer that sets the payload with the provided value. So whatever the user giving the data, so that data we can hold into the payload. Okay. So here what I'm trying to do, it will this mule provide. There is a language called mule expression language, MEL, mule expression language. Using that mule expression language, we can play with the data actually. It's like a JSP, Java Server Pages. All right. So in the Java, there is a language called JSPs, right? While writing the JSPs, we'll use separate syntax, right? Similarly here also, Mule supports MEL, Mule expression language. Using that Mule expression language, we have to get the information. We have to play like that around. Okay, so here what I'm trying to do it in the payload, if you click on the payload, some configuration will open here. So any component, any message processor, so double click on that particular configuration will open on the bottom, right? So here you can keep it any name actually, set the payload name. So next one is value, that value. Here this is a mail expression language. So how we are getting, try to observe here, MEL is nothing but a one kind of language. It's a it's nothing but its syntax is look like this. So within of within square brackets, we have to mention all these things. So this means we are getting the dynamic data. If you mention like this, we are getting the dynamic data. If you mention normally, it's a static data, whatever you are mentioning. So that will come automatically. That is nothing but a static data. So if you mention hash square brackets. Between that it acts like a dynamically we are getting the data. So here coming to inside of that, so what was the syntax of that? Hash symbol, square bracket start and square bracket end. That is the syntax of mule expression. Anyway, we will discuss. We have a separate session for MEL, so we'll discuss on that more. So here within square brackets, so message dot inbound properties of HTTP query params dot destination we are saying. So here whatever you are sending, it's like a message. So whatever you are getting from the user, it's nothing but a message. We can say payload or else it's a message. So what I'm saying here in the syntax from the message, so whatever you are getting as a input parameters from the user, so it's nothing but a inbound properties. So message contains here different parts. One is the inbound properties, another one is outbound properties, another one is attachment. Right? Three parts this payload contains, this message contains: inbound properties, outbound properties, and attachment. So user can able to send attachment also. User can able to send some inbound parameters. But outbound parameters, it's a different actually. So but whatever you are getting from the user, that is nothing but inbound properties. Whatever we are sending to the third party, we are sending to the some other publisher, that is nothing but outbound properties actually. That outbound property, suppose here I am using some HTTP, okay, as a some other third party I'm trying to hit it. Whatever we are sending here, that is nothing but outbound properties. We are sending some information to the third party or else some other service, so that is nothing but a outbound properties. But in this case we are expecting some inbound properties from the consumer. Guys, you are clear? So if you're not clear, I will explain once again.
It's okay. Let us go on.
Okay, 1 second, hold. Charging is not there. Okay, sorry. You people are clear, right? What I'm trying to get information here, user will enter some destination as a query parameter in the URL, right? I am trying to get that query parameter from the user. So whatever he enter, the destination, I'm trying to get it. How to get it? There is a way to get it. So using mule expression language, MEL. So whatever getting the information from the user, that message, that payload contains different parts: inbound properties, outbound properties, and attachments. In this case, I'm trying to get it whatever he entered in the URL as a query parameter. So that is nothing but a destination. I want to get that query parameter. So how will get it? Inbound properties of HTTP dot query params of destination. Okay, so this way we can able to get that destination from the user. So after getting
Okay.
that, yeah, tell me.
So what is the destination actually? What is this?
Destination is nothing but a query parameter actually. Don't get confusing here. So whatever you are enter here, right? So how it is look like that URL, uh, flow check, right? Flow check. What is the host name here? Localhost 80W. HTTP localhost 8088 is the port number. Okay, this is look like this, and then query parameter also there, right? You have to keep it like this, destination equals some Hyderabad. So this is the query parameter. You are aware of query parameter, right? So in the URL will send some information, right? After question mark, you will send whatever you are sending, some key equal value kind of thing. So that is nothing but a destination is nothing but a query parameter. So this query parameter I'm trying to get in the mule. You're clear now, right? So this is getting from the inbound user, right? So that's why it's nothing but inbound properties, right? So next one is after getting that, I kept there is a Java component. Here two things are there. Java component is there, Java transformer is there. What is the difference there? Here if you use Java transformer, we'll get one type of data into another type of conversion will happen to the transformer. But whereas in here it's a component, it's a plain Java class. You can write Pojo, you can write normal Java class. So this one I just drag and drop as a Java class here. So here we mentioned the class name of that. What was the class name of that? You can give package, right? Whatever the Java, you can write package name dot the class name, right? Same way you can write it here. So this is my package name. So where will write it? I was explaining this package explorer in the earlier session. So whatever the Java mentioned, right, location src main Java, we can keep it a package as you wish. Then we can write the Java class here, right? It's like a normal Java class, public class, price component. This is nothing but a constructor. Then you can have some method here. Whatever the parameter we are sending, right, that parameter will come here. I'm not writing any logic here. I just returning the destination. I'm trying to you people try to familiar with these all these components. That's why I just kept the place that component. Just I'm returning that destination, whatever I'm trying to I was getting from the user. I just displayed it into the uh, in the flow in the Java class. Okay, after that what I'm trying to do, there is a here my requirement is what, after getting the location from the user, right, consumer, I want to append some more string. So for that there is a append string one component is there. We just use that append string. Okay, this is append string. So the append string transform append string to a string payload, right? Already existing payload contains what? So that is nothing but Hyderabad, right? I want to add some more extra string, that is nothing but a to Bangalore. We are getting Hyderabad. I'm trying to add this data to the existing string, that is existing payload, that is nothing but a Hyderabad. So then it will display, how it will display? Hyderabad to Nellore, HYD to Nellore it will display. Sorry, HYD to Bangalore it will display. Is it clear? I will try to run it. We will get to more information. Run as, so how to run it? Once you done application, right click on the your application, run as mule application. That's it. If you have any issues, if you have any deployment issues, it will display here. These are all the server logs. If you are getting any issues, it will display here. If not deploying properly, we have to identify the what was the issue, then we have to rectify it, then we have to deploy it again. So now status is fine, it's deployed properly, no issues. Once we'll get this like this, we can hit it that URL, whatever you are framing that URL, right? So you understood, right, how we'll create that URL. Whatever you have mentioned, that HTTP connector, that local, that whatever the port number, whatever the remote host or else your local host. Next one is there is a path, a flow check, right? Slash you have to keep it, then you have to keep it like this. Next, I'm passing some destination as I had HYD. Next, how it will get it? HYD to Bangalore. Is it clear? So this is a flow. So I will show you in debug mode. We'll get to more information. You can try always as a developer. You can run this application as a debug mode. Sorry, debug. So How to identify particular section in console. Mm, Console. I'm not getting. This is a console. What do you want to identify? Like error column. Okay. So here actually, how will identify? Any issue happen, it will display the stack trace actually. This is the exception stack trace. It's like a Java only. It's like in the Java, if you have any issues, we'll get the stack trace, right? Print stack trace. Then we'll get some error message like that, right? Here it will come. It will come clearly exception actually. It will display exception, so that finally it will give failed, deployed status got failed, then it will give here itself that error message. So based on that we can understand, right? So but these runtime issues actually in the server it will display. Suppose here anything is missing, here we mention build automatically, right? Always whatever the change happen, always it will compile it actually if we choose this option. So any compilation issues happen, it will appear clearly, right? So in the runtime, you will get some exception, but in compilation issues, you can rectify it here itself. So I'm just running an application as a debug mode. I'm just keeping it toggle breakpoint. Observe here how to keep it a debug here. Just click on the right click on the particular component, then keep it a toggle breakpoint. So that is nothing but a debug point. You can see whatever you added, the debug points will appear here actually. See breakpoints. The breakpoints will come here. It's like almost Java. If you are familiar with Java, so you can easily play with this. Okay. So next, then hitting that, if you see here, the request stop here. It will ask the prompt. It will come some perspective dialog. Then it will ask us actually, do you want to open this perspective now in the debug mode? Yes. So see this, your window got changed. It got open different perspective, right? So now see what was the payload you are getting. So you can see here is the beauty actually. If you click here X plus Y, then it will display on dialog actually. In the dialog, we can check all the syntaxes. You are getting data or the type of kind of thing. You can check it here. Okay, so I'm just checking what payload I'm getting. See this, I'm getting null payload, right? But what we are putting here, some query parameters are not getting. Query parameters are getting, not payload actually. Payload means if you are sending any body, that will come as a payload, right? So we can see here also actually. If you see here, in the debugger mode, in the debugger, if you double click on the debugger, so here inbound properties, variables, outbound properties, session properties, record variables, right? All these things we can see here actually. Now we are getting some query parameter, right? Destination equal Hyderabad. We need to get that information. Here we can see it actually. Expand this HTTP query parameters. One value you are getting. What is the key and what is the value? So see this key is destination. So value is Hyderabad. So this we are trying to get it actually. If you see here payload, we are not getting any payload actually. If you are submitting any information as a body, we'll get as a payload. But in this case, we are not sending any body, we are just getting the query parameters, right? So next step we'll see here. In this step, what? In this step, we mentioned in the some syntax inside here, right? You can see here also. So click on that X plus Y symbol. We'll evaluate mail expression. And click on here, keep it here, and check it. See this message dot inbound properties of that clearly to display. Like this we can check it actually in the debug mode. So what was the value we're getting? Suppose without checking that, then we'll get null pointer exception and all. So there is no value, we're trying to do some operation on that, we'll get null pointer exception and all. So guys, you are clear, right? So next one is, so step by step, if you click, I want to see next step, right? If you click this, it will come here. Now check the payload, see the payload. Now in the payload we have a Hyderabad, the data coming and sit into the payload. Then that payload you have to send to the Java, right? So now see the payload, Hyderabad. So what we are trying to do here, we are taking the existing payload, we are trying to append new string. So then click F8 or else, I mean last case, click this or else click a green symbol. It will finish it actually. It's kind of F8. There is your application running in the debug mode. Guys, you are clear? This is a basic flow only. I
Yes,
was
yes,
introducing
yes.
HTTP connector set payload in Java and then append string. 4 components I was introducing. You are clear?
Yes, Venkat, yes, yes.
Yeah, can you please practice it? I will share this POC, whatever I did, then I will share the recording. So just first execute this whatever it is as it is, then try to in a way, in a think different way, then try to execute your own way samples created like set payloads and append strings like that to get the multiple query parameters. Here I was showing only one query parameter. I will get other query parameters ampersand with something else like other query parameters. Try to get multiple query parameters and play with it. Okay, na? So we'll connect tomorrow. We'll see more on that. So guys, you have any questions?
So we'll discuss on tomorrow. Okay,
Sure. So just practice it. Just practice it. Come up with some questions. We'll discuss on first before the start session. We'll discuss on the questions. Then we are okay with that. We'll good. Then we'll go ahead to next thing. Okay, na? Okay. Thank you. Thanks,
thanks,
guys.
thanks for coming.
Yeah.